Greetings, freakish life forms. Today I'm not with anyone. Hi.
No, he is with someone. He's with me. I'm Miriam, or Mim. What do you call me?
That person.
That person. Nice. We have a kindled friendship over strange abnormal lives and strange abnormalness in general. And
You don't have to talk about our friendship in this much detail.
alright, fine, I won't then. I'm Mim, and I have like lots of physical health problems and mental health. Well, not really lots of mental health problems. A lot of the problems go together, and when you have lots of physical health problems, it kind of sucks. So I was in a wheelchair for a few years.
We didn't say what we were doing.
We didn't say what we're doing. We'll go back and do that. I was in a wheelchair for a few years, and that was really tough. What we're going to talk about today is
We're going to talk about how schools react to health problems.
I mean, actually, that is the answer. Not that. That. So, story number one from me. I was never normal, I think anyone would say that, but I was not physically unwell. It was quite sudden that I became physically unwell at the end of year 8 and then the beginning of year 9. I turned up to school practically. I turned up in a wheelchair effectively. We told the school that might need to happen because of the illnesses I was experiencing. And they were just really bad about it, and I began in beginning of year 9, so that's September, and I left December. But when I say left, I don't really mean left. I kind of mean kicked out. Not expelled because I'm badass or anything like that. But they didn't want someone in a wheelchair in their school, really. And they didn't want to cope with it. And some of the things that happened was like they had a lift, but they didn't want me to use it because, to this day I really don't know why, because they didn't want to encourage me to use the wheelchair. They didn't believe I really needed it, which is, who are they to say that? I had lots of doctors and professionals saying that I did. They had done their own research on my diagnoses and decided that I didn't need it, which is a bit strange. And they would lock me out of the lift, and so that I couldn't get to my lessons unless I walked up the stairs. So either I wouldn't get there or I would go upstairs. If I missed any lessons, I got told off because I was missing lessons. It was like bunking, even though it was just because I was ill. And they said, I'm not complying with their timetable, stuff like that. They called me a safety hazard. That's nice, isn't it? There were lots of things like that. There was once where I was really, really, really unwell, and I had been forced to use the stairs because they locked me out the lift, and I didn't have a chair, and I collapsed in the corridor, and they called the nurse, I was with friends, and then they got the teacher, and the teacher got them to get the nurse, and everyone went into their class. Fine. I wanted a friend with me, they didn't let me. Okay, fine. Not great, but okay. I was completely collapsed on the floor. Like, I was conscious, but I wasn't unable to move and unable to really respond to what they were saying. I think I was crying, I'm not entirely sure. But they just left me there, and the nurse just started shouting at me and saying, "You can't stay here, what are you doing? Get up now."
Excuse me! We're trying to film a video! It's okay!
Yeah, so I was in the corridor, and the nurse was just shouting at me, and then they
Shouting?
Yeah. Like, get up, you can't be here, people are going to be walking past, do you want people to see you on the floor? She wouldn't help me. I asked for her help. She would kind of drag me. She did actually drag me at one point. And then they got the head of pastoral care. She was properly shouting at me, just standing above me. And she was just worried about my reputation, her reputation of me being in the corridor. She just didn't want the other students to see me, which I didn't want the other students to see me either, but that doesn't mean that that's okay. It was also a corridor that had access to a lift, so there's no reason why they couldn't bring up a wheelchair. It wasn't an inaccessible floor. I had just been locked out of the lift. So that's why I hadn't got up in the lift. I'd walked up the stairs and it was too much because I couldn't walk that far at that time. Anyway.
I don't have any physical health problems.
That we know of.
I have dealt with mental health problems in the past. When I was at school in year 10, I was told by the teachers that I couldn't tell my friends about what was going on with my mental health. I couldn't talk to anyone, so that made me feel quite lonely. It's kind of like they were trying to protect the other students from me.
And that so often is the feeling. It's not a protection of you, it's a protection of other students. And it's so counterproductive because it means the other students don't understand you. When I say you, I mean you, but also just me or people or Time Lords.
Thank you
yeah.
for being inclusive.
I will try. You know, it doesn't help because people don't understand, and then they get it wrong, or you get it wrong, and it just doesn't. And then it makes people feel that there isn't mental health around, or that there aren't people around that know about it. It was often hushed, and then you work out that actually half the class is hushed. And it's like, this is so stupid. Why are we all pretending that this isn't a reality that we're experiencing? Because it's just stupid. Well, obviously lots of schools said they couldn't cope, but quite a lot of them said they could cope with me in a wheelchair. One of them in particular, we decided, when I say we, I mean my parents and me, decided we'd go there because it's really close to where I live, and turned up, and what they meant by cope was, oh, I could get into the cafeteria in a wheelchair, and a couple of the rooms I could learn French.
That sounds ideal. All you have to do is eat and learn French.
Yeah, it wasn't wheelchair accessible at all. Do you find that schools make promises that they can't keep with stuff?
When everyone's in the hallways going to their next lesson, I hated that bit.
Yeah.
Because it was really loud and really crowded, and so then when the teachers in learning support said that they don't think I can cope in a mainstream school, so I went to a special school for that specialise in autism, and when I first went to see the school, I thought it was the most amazing place I've ever been, and I thought it was going to help me so much. And then I went there, and all they talk about is autism.
The provisions that they had to help people, was that again only really?
It was just all aimed at people with autism. It was a boarding school, and I was boarding there for a month before I got kicked out because they realised that I had mental health issues. Towards the end of the year, I spoke to my class about autism, which I'm planning to do at the beginning of the year this year, because I think that would have been more helpful.
Probably. Yeah, we talked about that before, about that it's better to tell people the truth than to have them guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, it's a lot of stuff because I have a lot of different illnesses. I have learned over time that, and I'm still learning, you know, I've started uni and I am fully saying I'm a disabled student to anyone who will listen to me, which is a bit weird, but you know, I'm just saying it because I hate it when I have to explain myself, and if I explain it and they don't like it, fine. You know, explain it, they think it's too much, they think, whoa, that's a complicated person, whoa, that person has issues. All of these things, fine. But if you don't give them the chance, go on, yeah.
If you say exactly what it is to everyone, then they don't have a chance to gossip about it or anything, because everyone already knows exactly what it is, so they can't really take it out of context.
Right, exactly. They can't take it out of context. They can't make up their own versions of the story. And if they did try, then other people would be able to correct them, because they'd be like, no, I was listening to, that's not what Zach said, that's not what Mim says. You know, started being ill when I was 13. I mean, I really kind of started with mental health problems quite, you know. But I started when I was 13, and it's been a progression. I've been to 4 schools, and plus homeschool, and now I'm going off to university. It's a different thing again. They said, right, well, you can't do any of your creative subjects. You have to.
Why?
That's a good question, Zach. Because if I was only going to be in there for the few lessons, because I wasn't complying, it had to be academic subjects.
When people do talk about mental health in school, sometimes it's not talked about in a helpful way.
Yeah, they kind of. I would describe it as glamorizing it or glorifying it.
If the teacher spoke about it, even if it was like a bit not nice to listen to, then at the beginning, where if it becomes more of a mainstream thing for schools to do, then people won't think anything about it. It's just part of the curriculum, and so they won't like be shocked when they hear about mental health, because just everyone will know about it.
Yeah, I have actually been told not to share my story a lot, because it's scary for people, or they don't want to hear it, or I don't know.
When I was at school and my teachers told me not to talk about it, I felt like for them, like the opposite of mental illness is innocence, or something like they protect the innocent people that don't really know about mental health, like that I'm going to contaminate them or something.
Oh yeah, I feel that all the time. I mean, people think that with mental and physical health, that you're going to contaminate people with your wheelchair, or with your mental health, or with your anxiety.
I think one of the main problems with schools is that their goal is just to get everyone through the years, just do like all the classes and get good grades. And so if people are struggling along the way, they kind of just want to get rid of you.
Yeah, just shave them off. Shave off the strays. I had asked for my form room to be moved downstairs, because it was up.
Move a whole room for you?
No, not the whole room, but my form to be moved downstairs. It was up 4 flights of stairs, which is just really not doable for me. I can manage 1, but it's really painful and it's really difficult. 4 flights is not happening.
What did they say?
They said I get that, but you know, we can't move the whole house, so we can't move just your form, just your year basically. And then I come into school, my form starts walking out of a classroom on the bottom floor, and I get really confused. I'm like, why are you? What's happening? And they're like, oh, we've moved rooms. I'm like, why? And they're like, oh, this girl has hurt her knee. I cannot tell you the fury. So it was very difficult not to be very personally offended, but I was, because it's like, so that person's illness is more valued than mine. Their illness is more important. It's more severe.
Did you talk to them about it?
Yeah. What, the person or the teacher?
The teacher.
The teacher, yeah, didn't get moved. Hear the word health or hospital or anything, or mental health, they go really serious, like you're just disclosing this.
If you ever want everyone to be quiet, just say
mental health, and everyone shuts up. But it's like, you can't just slip it into a conversation, so that's also why it doesn't work. It doesn't work to not tell people, because it comes up in conversation.
It into conversation.
Yeah, Zach does it all the time, and I do too, and I think that's one of the things, is that we both end up doing it, and then we look at each other like, because it happens. People talk about their school experiences, and my school experiences, like, oh yeah, I was kicked out of school because I was in a wheelchair. You know, but it's our journey.
I was in hospital for a whole year, so like that's a lot of memories.
It's a lot of memories.
Am I not allowed to talk about that year?
Right, and why are we not allowed to talk about that year? Why not? Why are you not? What, because it's going to hurt people that they knew that you were in hospital? Sorry.
So anyway, bye.
Thanks for watching. And I do have a YouTube channel.
I'm not gonna link it because I don't want. I will link it. I will.